Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Seattle Area Independent Schools Virtual College Fair. We are really excited to have you participating in this event today. We've got some fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Andy, and I will be your facilitator. But before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website for those additional sessions. And lastly, this presentation is being recorded, and that will be available at strivescan.com/SAIS. And now I'd like to turn things over to our first presenter, the University of California, Irvine.
All right, hi everyone. Hopefully you all can see my screen okay. My name is Huma Medinawala. I'm currently the Associate Director for High School Outreach. So I am the assigned counselor for the Pacific Northwest, which of course includes Seattle. So we'll jump into talking a little bit about UCI, but before we do so, we definitely do want to address that we are part of the University of California system. So I think it's important for a lot of students to understand with the University of California system, we're all on one application, one set of requirements, but we're one of 9 different campuses. So as Andy shared, there's a lot of different sessions happening today, so you'll see a lot of different campuses represented. We do review all of our applications independently, so we do encourage all of our students to apply broadly to really increase their chances of admission. 3 things that I always tell students to consider when you're looking at the UC system is size, location, and academic programs. So we'll be talking a little bit about that in reference to UCI specifically. So the first thing we'll look at is our overall size of the campus. So we do have about 29,000 undergraduate students, so a little under 30,000 with a little over 6,000 graduate students and a 94% one-year retention rate and a 72% 4-year, as well as this 85 6-year. So that dip that you see between the 4-year and the 6-year, it actually takes our students on average 4 years and a quarter, which is why we see the 6-year retention rate to be a little bit higher. So when you're thinking of a size for our UC campus, UCI is considered a medium-sized campus. So the largest campus would be UC Berkeley, and one of the smallest would be UC Merced. So UCI is located in Southern California, which we'll talk a little bit about in a second. But in terms of size of the campus with the volume of students, we have around 30,000 undergraduate students on our campus. Academics. So as I shared, academic programs are something that's really important to consider when you're looking at schools, especially within the UC system. So for UCI specifically, we have 14 academic schools with over 85 majors and over 70 minors. So our students are able to double major, to pick up additional minors once you're a UCI student. The really nice thing about the academic school structure is within each individual school, you have your own set of advisors. So those advisors are familiar with the graduation plan for all students within that school. So for School of Biological Sciences, they're prepared to help you graduate, guide you through your classes, as well as providing internship and job opportunities, and encouraging you and providing you resources for research. Something that's important to know for UCI specifically, if you do consider applying, is UCI does allow a first choice and a second choice major. So when you're considering applying and filling out the application your senior year, you do want to do some research and put some thought behind what those first choice and second choice majors will be, because we do admit by major, which means we essentially take your major into account when we're reviewing your application. So that's something to think about as you're sort of thinking of applying and all of those things. Something that we're really proud of is our Inclusive Excellence accolades and some of those student resources that we have. We are a dual designation school, so we are an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution, along with being a Hispanic serving institution. In addition to that, we're a first gen forward institution, a gender inclusive campus, and we just launched our Black Thriving Initiative a couple years ago to really make sure that all students' identities are represented on campus and they feel that UC Irvine is a safe space for them. These are just some of our student support services. So the Counseling Center, Dream Scholars, we have a Student Outreach and Retention Center. So a lot of resources and a lot of guidance for those students that come onto our campus. Research. So something that our students do once they start on our campus is they do participate in research. So a lot of institutions where you do have to wait to be a graduate student to participate in research, that's not the case for UCI. You can participate in research from the start of your first year. About 73% of our students participate in research, and we have research for all of our programs, not just our sciences. So if you're a dance major, there's research for you in the arts, in psychology and beyond, and not just within our STEM majors. So now to talk about a little bit about location, as we talked about earlier, that's the third thing you want to consider. So we're located in beautiful Orange County. So that's in Southern California, about an hour south of LA and about an hour and a half north of San Diego. So we're just really close to the beach, 5 miles away and 15 miles from Disneyland. There's a bunch of beautiful hiking and biking trails. Irvine has been ranked the safest city for its size for the past 15 years. And of course, 281 sunny days per year, as you can imagine. Here's some beautiful images. So the top left is our concert in the park. The middle is Newport Beach, as well as Disneyland, and UCI campus is built around a park. So everything's in a circle. So that hammock that you see, a lot of our students do choose to hang out in the park. And the bottom left is our Anteater Recreation Center. So that's where we have a lot of activities, a lot of classes, whether that's fitness, cooking, some of those different interest areas. And lastly, I wanted to leave you with a beautiful image. It's an aerial view of the UCI campus and the surrounding area and the ocean. So hopefully, if you all have any questions, you're welcome to drop them in the chat as well, or the Q&A, and I'll leave my contact info in the chat as well. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you to the University of California, Irvine. And next up, we have Haverford College.
Hey everyone, my name is Tyler Clausen-Wolf. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission at Haverford. I literally just got to Seattle about 10 minutes ago. I got into my hotel room just a second ago. So for those of you, keep an eye out, see if I'm visiting your school this week. Come say hi if you remain interested. And counselors, I will see you at the school visits and also at NACAC. So Haverford is a liberal arts institution of just over 1,400 students. As you can see, we have a really lush, this is a picture from the fall, but normally green campus. And the campus itself is actually a nationally recognized arboretum. And we also have the advantage of being about 20 minutes outside of Center City, Philadelphia. So you kind of have that ability to get downtown really quickly while still having that nice and beautiful campus. 3 pillars of the Haverford community are mutual trust, concern, and respect. That is both students peer-to-peer, but also faculty, and also students to faculty as well. And we believe that there's really nowhere else that values student voice and student agency as much as Haverford. So this is amplified in take-home tests, proctorless exams, self-scheduled finals week, and then also there's a rule on our campus not to discuss grades. So grades themselves are de-emphasized, and what is emphasized is learning for learning's sake, being really engaged in the classroom and kind of trying to reduce the stress that comes along with the academic rigor. This trust allows students to work in ways that is best for them as an individual and to reach their full academic potential. So if you're not necessarily a morning person, you don't have to take that test or exam in the morning. If you are doing finals week, it's completely self-scheduled. So maybe you're not ready on Monday to take something and you just get a couple extra days of studying before taking it on Friday or just whenever is best for you. The student body has a meeting every semester where they ratify our honor code. This is a completely student-written document. It's about 10 pages long, so it's not just punitive or prescriptive. It really encompasses all of academic and social life campus. And so socially, it's about building a really inclusive community where everyone can see themselves represented, have their voice be heard. There's a meeting in which the honor code is re-ratified every semester. And if you got it every 4 years, it's completely different people on our campus. And as well changes, the values of our student body changes as well. And so we want to make sure that their voice is really being represented and heard by taking this much ownership over their experience, and really the culture that they want to create, because again, it's entirely student written. We also want to make sure that Haverford is affordable, so we meet 100% of demonstrated need of all accepted students. So this doesn't matter what round you apply in, it doesn't matter your citizenship status. That's really our commitment, that everyone who is interested in attending Haverford can have that need be met. We look for students who are passionate and intellectually curious. Students have their love of learning really fostered on our campus. We have a 9-to-1 student faculty ratio, and actually about 40% of our faculty live on our campus. And so you develop these really close bonds with your that go beyond just the classroom. They know what you're involved in. Is capable of, and also should get to do their own original research project as kind of the capstone and culmination of their academic undergraduate experience. And in terms of fostering that lifelong love of learning, about 66% of our graduates, 2 out of 3, go on to receive a higher degree. And oftentimes their thesis can really influence either the kind of schoolwork that they're going to go into, or even the jobs. There have been students that have been hired off the merit of their thesis. And there are also students that have actually done research as early as their first year. That is open as like on-campus job or kind of a fellowship internship as early as first semester on campus that students can apply to. So oftentimes students will do research alongside their professors, whether it's in a lab or on a paper that they're working on, and actually be co-published with their professors. And what we really look for is students that can develop ethical leadership skills on our campus. So students sit on all committees. So this is budgeting committees, hiring committees, building committees, and really have their voice heard side by side with the administration. So students sit on these committees not just so that they can really sit and watch, but so that they can be active participants and influence the direction that Haverford is taking moving forward, and so that students can really leave an impact on our campus and make Haverford, leave Haverford better than where they found it. I think I'm running up on it, so I just want to say thank you all. I'm going to drop my email in the chat and we'll respond to questions as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to Haverford College. And next up we have Chapman University.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Hope we are doing well on this beautiful Sunday. It's beautiful where I am, at least in Orange County. My name is Garrett Addison. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission at Chapman. I was also a student, both my undergrad and graduate degrees. I wanted to give you a quick view on just what Chapman is from the student side. We are a medium-sized campus. We have about 7,500 undergraduate students with about 2,300 in those graduate and law programs. What that means is essentially you have a lot of research opportunities that normally would be offered to grad students, PhD students that are being offered to our undergraduate population. So being able to do a lot of that hands-on work as an undergrad. Again, we are kind of on that medium size, about a 24 average class size with about a 13-to-1 student faculty ratio. It is a much more intimate environment for our students. You kind of become friends with your faculty members. They become mentors of yours, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And we have a lot of different academic programs to offer, anything from film to business, performing arts, humanities, even science and engineering. There's a lot to get your hands dirty with. All of our students will do 2 academic programs, at least 1 major, 1 minor, but we do have students that'll double major, double minor. I've known some students to triple major in my time, and it's a lot of work, so I don't recommend it. But hey, if you want to, if you've got 3 interests, go for it. Our students currently come from 48 different states, 4 U.S. territories, and about 79 different countries across the globe. We also send our students across the globe. About 53% of our students take us up on studying abroad. It's a cool experience for our students to be able to learn from each other in and out of the classroom, to be able to get outside of just this little kind of Chapman area to see what else is out there and to actually experience the world around them. This is a picture of our main campus. It's our Atala Piazza. It's where a lot of different outdoor events are held. This is actually our student involvement fair. We have over 190 different clubs and organizations, and that number continuously grows because students continuously find new interests to bring to our campus. I love this picture a lot because it really showcases Orange County. There's not a cloud in sight. It's usually 75 and sunny. You can see Angel Stadium way back in the back, that little red A back there. But our campus is really bustling. We're excited for our students to actually have the opportunity to be with each other while also making sure that they have the right opportunities. Going into our location a little bit more, similar to UCI, it's nice being in the same presentation because I don't touch on it too much, but we are right in the middle of Orange County. We are 12 minutes away from Disneyland, 20 minutes from the beach, about 2 hours from different mountain ranges for skiing, snowboarding. LA's above us, San Diego's below us. There's a lot of really cool recreational opportunities, hiking trails, biking trails, being able to explore different museums and different stadiums and athletic events. There's just so much that goes on in Orange County, but also Southern California as a whole, not to mention all of the different professional opportunities as well. Our students, about 70% of them will graduate with having at least one internship, if not two, or three or four. We have some pretty ambitious students on our campus. Meanwhile, I was at school and did no internships. But there's a lot of opportunities to actually dive in and see, like, what do I want to do with my career? What's something that I want to take as that next step? Exploration is definitely at the forefront of the Chapman experience, no matter if it's academically, socially, or professionally. I do want to talk quickly about our campus expansion. We've had a couple new places open up and then have some new ones that will be opening up in the future. Our Keck Center for Science and Engineering has been open for a couple years now, but this fall we just opened up our Swenson Family Hall of Engineering specifically. Their space is very open. They have ideation labs, creation labs, spaces for students to really think of their ideas, get them tested, and then have a tangible physical product in front of them. It's a really cool space. I saw it last week. And then our Sandy Simon Center for Dance, which will be a huge increase for our dance students, about 28,000 square feet. It's literally a 90% increase. It's crazy. We've had a dance program forever, and it's just been a really small space. So we're excited for them to actually have something to branch out into and to really grow their program into something big. Really quickly, I want to touch on, we are Division III in our athletics. D3 doesn't mean that we are bad at sports. I will say that immediately. In the 23 years that we've had D3 sports, we have 23 different championships, regional, national, conference level. We're good at what we do. If you're interested in any sort of our athletic program, whether it's D3 or club, get in contact with the coaches or let me know and I can set up a meeting with you. Studying abroad, again, over half of our students will study abroad. There are semester programs, travel courses for about a 2 to 3 week period during our interterm or summer terms. And then also our semester at sea program, which a few different schools are a part of, but you get to go entirely around the world on a boat. It's super, super rad. Again, we do have a lot of kind of creative and performing arts programs for students. It's not limited to just those academic majors and minors. We also have ways for students to engage in clubs and organizations. So even if you're somebody that loves dance, but just doesn't want to major in dance, you still have the opportunity to keep it on your plate. We want our students to really go after their passions, not just in the classroom, right? Outside of the classroom. It's 4 years of your life, not just 4 years of school. Really quickly, these are some of the numbers from last year's admission cycle, a little over 15,000 total applications, about a 60% admission rate. Average GPA was about a 3.8 weighted. We are test optional now until hopefully forever, or until we can go test blind, don't require tests. And we have a little under 18% that are first generation students. November 1st is coming up around the corner. If you're interested in these types of programs, make sure that you apply, but we also have January 15th as regular decision. And then lastly, some information on scholarships. There's a lot out there. Please apply for it. If you have any other questions, I will leave my contact in the chat. Thank you so much for being here.
Great, thank you, Chapman University. And next up, we have Sarah Lawrence College.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liam George. Happy to be here to talk to you a little bit about Sarah Lawrence. I'm going to only touch on the basics and actually spend most of the session talking about the academic model, which I really feel is the thing that is most distinctive about the college. But we are a residential liberal arts and sciences college of about 1,400 students, located just 15 miles north of Manhattan. So as you can see on the map here, the top right-hand corner, you'll notice 2 white dots. One of those is the campus. The other one is the Bronxville train station, which is within walking distance of it. That blue line follows the Metro North's Harlem line right into Grand Central Terminal, which will take you about 35 minutes to get in. So it's really easy to get in and out of the city when you're doing so for anything from internships to recreational time and events. That said, we also do offer free shuttle service on Saturdays to and from the city, so you don't always have to pay that fare to get back and forth. But I always like to note also that the city really is a supplement to student life rather than the focal point. You never have to worry about the campus filtering out into some kind of ghost town on the weekends. There's always still plenty to do, plenty of people around. We find that students typically go about once a month. That obviously encompasses some students who go every weekend and others who go maybe once a semester, but more students will fall into kind of the middle of that bell curve. In terms, though, of the academic model, Sarah Lawrence does things a little bit differently. Students take 3 classes at a time rather than the traditional 4 or 5. And the reason that is that each of these classes has multiple components. So the amount of work that you'll be doing in each one of them, while larger, will really balance out because you're doing fewer courses. The most common form of class, though, is this seminar conference. This is the seminar component that you see on the screen. They are roundtable discussion-based classes. They average 12 students and cap at 15. So they're always really intimate, really interactive courses where you have great opportunities to bounce your ideas off of your peers and the professor in that setting. What's really unique, though, is that in addition to that, students get to meet with their professor directly every other week, 30 to 45 minutes one-on-one. That is during a time known as conferences. So a conference at the beginning of the semester might just be introductions, getting to know one another. But very quickly, as the semester progresses, you'll start asking questions about course readings and course materials, making connections to current events and the other courses that you happen to be taking. But the main focus of that time is to start thinking about a larger independent project that you'll be completing, known very aptly as a conference project. And conference projects take a lot of different shapes and forms based on what a student is interested in studying. So just as a few examples, a student in a writing course might do a portfolio of poetry, whereas a student in a foreign language class might do a translation of a text, and still yet another might be in a science course and do some hands-on scientific research. So those are just a few examples, but it's always meant to reflect what you are most interested in. So it does not have to be exactly in line with the course curriculum. In fact, it's very encouraged to be interdisciplinary. So if you have an interest that falls outside of that realm, typically, you should be able to find a way to weave it into a project here. In fact, this is really the main focus of most of your work. There's not a finals week, there's a conference week when these larger projects are due. So you'll find that in general, tests are fewer and farther between, where there's more of an emphasis on papers, projects, and presentations. Overall, that's about 90% of the courses that we offer at the college, with the other 10% being a mix of small lecture courses that range between about 30 and 40 students and conservatory style performing arts courses that are also offered. The other thing that I want to talk about in terms of academics is the curriculum itself. We have both an open curriculum, but also one in which every student designs their own course of study. And I think while most students have heard the term open curriculum, I think it's important to actually take some time to explain exactly what that means and how that plays out. So there's 3 points that I'd like to make on that. So first, it means that when you're applying to the college, you are applying to the school as a whole, as opposed to a specific individual program. And when you've gained admission, you've gained access into every class and every program we offer. Secondly, no matter what your focus happens to be, you still have access to the rest of the curriculum as you see fit. So it's not unusual for our students, even if they are in a pre-professional program like pre-law or pre-med, to also be doing something like learning a foreign language or taking philosophy courses, whatever it is that they're interested in doing, we very much encourage them to keep doing it. And then lastly, we also don't reserve seating in our courses for students that are studying that specific subject area only. So every class you take at the college will be a mix of artists, historians, linguists, mathematicians, all coming together and tackling some of the same problems, but from slightly different angles. And so everybody brings something a little bit different to the table, and it creates a really unique dynamic in which every student is learning as much from each other as they are from the class itself. So that's the idea of the open curriculum. Then at Sarah Lawrence, we take that one step further by also making sure that every student actually crafts their own program of study. So rather than having a traditional major and minor structure where the programs have essentially a list of predetermined requirements in order to complete that program, instead, students have the opportunity to work with a faculty member to pick and choose course by course the classes that are best suited for them. So this creates a good balance on the one hand in making sure that all students have autonomy in their course selection, while at the same time, you have that faculty mentor to lean on should you need direction. They'll make sure that you do take all of the classes that really will be imperative so that you are a competitive applicant to a job or a graduate school, whatever it is that you hope to do at the end of your 4 years. Every student will graduate with a Bachelor's of Liberal Arts and Sciences, with most students doing at least 2 different focus areas. So definitely you have a lot of opportunities to do something similar to a double major or a major and a minor. So that is the academic model. I hope you enjoyed that and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the sessions. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you so much to Sarah Lawrence College. And next up, we have Macalester College.
Hello and good morning, good afternoon, I guess. We're in the afternoon time at this point. Really excited to have everyone in this space with me. My name is Ben Kaufman. I am one of the assistant directors of admission at Macalester College, representing the Midwest in the group today. And really excited to have you all in this space with me and with us this afternoon. Again, my name is Ben Kaufman. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am one of the assistant directors of admission and the primary admission rep for the Pacific Northwest. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to utilize my email. Send me an email along the way. It's up on screen there. It'll be on screen on the last slide, and I will also make sure to pop it into the chat box. So let's talk a little bit about Macalester. Macalester is a small, private liberal arts and sciences college where our students really do experience the best of both worlds. You get an inspiring academic program through the liberal arts and sciences atmosphere, and you also get to combine that with the energy and opportunities of the Twin Cities of Minnesota, made up of downtown St. Paul and downtown Minneapolis. We are situated nicely in the middle. Our academic curriculum at Macalester is ranked in the top in the US. We have small class sizes. Average class size is 16 students. Individualized attention with your faculty, student to faculty ratio is 10:1. And collaboration really does serve as one of the key components of the student experience at Mac. Students do work side by side with their professors, not just in the classroom, but also in laboratory settings, on stages, on study away programs, or in more than 60 courses we offer each year that I'll actually partner you directly with a Twin Cities business or organization. All the way from your first year courses up to your capstone courses in your senior year, intellectual exploration really is the foundation of a Macalester education. For a bit about our student body, we do draw students from every corner of the globe, about 2,200 students on campus currently that come from 98 different countries and all 50 states. Students do find rich discussions and a deeper understanding of the world through experiences in and outside of the classroom. There are over 100 student organizations active on campus that really do contribute to lasting friendships and a sense of belonging at Macalester. Our student organizations reflect the diverse interests of our students as well, and really range in focus from art groups, comedy groups, dance clubs, gaming clubs. We have a Mac radio station, musical ensembles, political groups, religiously affiliated groups, rocketry club, just to name a few examples there. We then do have 19 varsity athletic teams that participate at the Division III level. We have an athletic and wellness complex that includes a large fitness center, both outdoors and indoors, because we do have winter in Minnesota. So we do have an indoor field house, swimming pool, and some other resources as well there. And our athletic teams frequently earn the highest cumulative GPA in the nation for Division III varsity teams. We do have 4 core values that are part of our experience at Macalester that really do help to facilitate everything we do on campus and off campus. Those 4 core values are academic excellence, internationalism, multiculturalism, and service to society. And these really do empower our students to create change around the world, positive change. We've been flying the United Nations flag on campus since 1950, and student-led social movements have been happening on campus since the 1960s, both of which symbolize Macalester's commitment to a curriculum and a way of life and a way of global citizenship made stronger through diversity of many different kinds, of course. We do have a robust financial aid program directing you to the bottom of the slide here that helps to enroll students from a variety of experiences, backgrounds, and walks of life, and from places around the world. We are committed to meeting 100% of demonstrated need for each and every student and family in our community. About 70% or so of our student body receives need-based aid from year to year. We do also have a significant merit scholarship program as well. About half of our students receive merit scholarship from year to year. Talking about our application process a little bit then, the best preparation for applying to Macalester is a balanced and rigorous high school curriculum. We do find it's important for students to prepare for Mac by utilizing their high school journey to pursue all 5 core academic subjects. That would be English, mathematics, history, laboratory science or natural science, and world language. And we do also expect that if students have the opportunity at their high schools to take advanced placement, international baccalaureate, honors courses, college courses, and so forth, to really do take those courses, to challenge yourself, and show Macalester that you are committed to your education, and therefore that you'll be committed to your education at Mac as well. We do evaluate each applicant's record in their high school context, paying particular attention to an applicant's resources and opportunities available to them. We're not going to compare you to a student from another school. Different schools, different availability resources, different grading structures, different classes available. We really look at you within the context of your individual high school. Other factors such as academic performance, essays, teacher recommendations, leadership experience, and so forth are also thoroughly reviewed by our admissions committee as part of our holistic review process. Standardized test scores are not required for admission. We are a test optional institution. If you do want to send in your test scores, great. We're happy to review them as one more data point in the entire set. And there's totally no penalty for not submitting your scores. You really do have that option if you'd like. The final piece is we are a common application institution. So utilizing the common app for our app form. And then just to wrap up here, some bonus facts and figures. About 35% of our US domestic students identify as students of color. About 15% of our student body is a first generation college student. About 1 in 6 Macalester students is an international student. They represent over 95 different countries around the world. And another 1 in 6 is from Minnesota, where we're located, with the rest of the United States being represented by the remaining 2/3 of our students. Things really are a little bit different at Macalester. And do encourage you to reach out to me with any questions about what makes Mac so different. And thank you all so much. I'll pass it on to the next person.
All right, thank you to Macalester College. And next up, we have Bates College.
You're muted, Johanna.
I'm muted. Somebody had to do it, right? And that was me. Good afternoon, good evening. I am Joey Seltzer, one of the associate deans in the admission office at Bates College. I get to close us out before we launch into some Q&A, but in the meantime, if you have heard things that you are curious about, feel free to take advantage of the time we have. My colleagues are monitoring the Q&A, so feel free to start typing in there and don't wait to be told. But here is my contact information as well. So if you want to follow up with me, feel free to do so. But I'm proud to talk to you about Bates for a few minutes here today. So we are located in Lewiston, Maine, which is technically Maine's second largest city. So about an hour north of Portland, Maine's largest city, about 2.5 hours north of Boston. It's a nice, easy, direct flight from Seattle to Boston, about 6 hours direct. So for those of you who are thinking about how do I get there, that's the easiest I find typically. The campus community is residential, so you're guaranteed 4 years of housing. There are only about 2,000 students altogether at Bates. It's entirely undergraduate, in many ways, the classic small liberal arts college. And one thing that you get with a school like that is a really strong sense of community. What's unique about Bates' particular flavor of liberal arts and our community and at large is that we were founded by abolitionists who believed that everyone should have access to the same opportunities. And we've never had Greek life on campus, no fraternities or sororities. Every club, every organization, there are 100 plus, is open to everyone on campus. We have a healthy amount of varsity sports on campus and club sports as well. So if athletics have been important to you in your high school life and you want to continue that at a high level, we compete in the NESCAC, which is arguably the most competitive D3 conference in the country. We have a robust arts program. And in general, I would describe Bates students as kind, supportive, smart, collaborative, and excellent. I would also talk about the campus community being open-hearted. I think that's a nice way to describe the community, and that people make time for one another. They're curious about your ideas. That translates to faculty and staff as well. That this is a place that you can navigate and define for yourself how you want to pursue the opportunities at Bates. One way that we kind of approach liberal arts at Bates is through community engaged learning. This is something that Bates is nationally known for, the idea that everyone has the same opportunity to learn in the classroom, and that can be amplified in the greater community as well. Any given semester, about half of Bates students are involved in campus learning off campus. So longstanding partnerships for decades with partners in the community, nonprofits, local businesses. The district court is in Lewiston, 2 major hospitals in Lewiston as well. So a lot of opportunities for students to amplify their education through community engaged learning. There's also a healthy amount of service that happens in the greater community as well. So kind of traditional volunteer work, not tied to your academic work. So if the greater community, plugging into that greater community, has been something that's important to your high school experience or something that you're excited to engage in college, Bates is an excellent place to engage in that sort of work. One reason that it is so successful, I think, is that our faculty embrace this as part of their approach to your education. For majors and minors, kind of, again, the classic liberal arts approach, so they're not any pre-professional tracks necessarily. You don't declare your major to the end of your second year at Bates. Most folks will have 2 areas of concentration. They could be directly related, it could be very disparate. It's totally up to you. You always have a faculty advisor during your time at Bates helping you guide the exploration and those choices as well. Open-minded is another theme that we were talking about at Bates. And so this is something that I would encourage you to be open-minded about, perhaps coming east, all the way east to Maine for college. You can visit us virtually. I dropped a link in the chat if you want to explore some more. We have some great virtual opportunities as well. But as I mentioned before, Bates is a place that really encourages students to sample, try things on for size, and really push the envelope and really expand. These 4 years are about exploration and growth and a transformational process so that you'll leave a slightly different person than you started with. One thing perennially that our students survey on their way out of Bates, seniors who do a cap and gown survey, talk about is accessibility of faculty. The highest rated part of their experience consistently is relationships with faculty. So it's worth highlighting the excellence in our faculty, that classes are small. Students really have a chance to connect with those faculty from their first days on campus and develop meaningful relationships that translate to life after Bates as well. One way that this really is cemented is through the senior thesis. So everyone in the senior year at Bates has a capstone writing project. So if you're interested in research, no matter what your major is, it culminates in a senior research project. That's a semester-long independent project where you work closely with a faculty member in your area and dive into original research. And then after graduation, there are so many different ways to go. Part of the Bates approach to your liberal arts education is that understanding that there is a key tie between what we're doing here and what you're going to do after graduation. And we need to own that and build that into your experience. So things like job shadowing, practitioner taught classes, and advising, even from faculty, not necessarily career development folks, should be tied to helping you better understand what you're good at, what you care about, and how you want to translate that into the next steps after Bates. Here's a little stat on financial aid, so feel free to look at this slide in depth, but quickly, Bates meets full need for all students regardless of citizenship. And this, I just love this picture, so I want to throw that out there too, that our students are doing real hands-on work through community engaged learning, through the senior thesis, and in lots of other ways that allow them to successfully translate to the life after Bates. Any given year, more than 95% of our students are placed within 6 months of graduation. So I put my information in the chat, happy to chat with you more tonight or following this conversation, and thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you so much to Bates College. And next up, we actually have a representative from one of the SAIS schools with just a brief announcement.
Thanks very much, Andy. Hi, everybody. My name is Noel Blyler. I'm one of the college counselors at Charles Wright Academy, and I and my colleague Katie Ryan and all of our fellow schools, our colleagues in Seattle, the Bush School, Downtown School, East Side Prep, Forest Ridge, Lakeside, Northwest, Overlake, and U Prep, along with the Rainier Scholars and our crosstown friends at Annie Wright, just want to say thank you to Joey, Huma, Tyler, Garrett, Ben, and Liam for participating in this program. We wish we could have our big in-person college fair, but in lieu of that, this is a great opportunity. And so we really appreciate your time. And I want to say thank you to all the students and parents who are on, spending some time learning about some colleges. And that's all I've got. Andy, I think we are ready now for our Q&A.
Great, thank you so much. Well, yeah, we do have a few minutes left, so let's go ahead and do a Q&A. So I'll just ask all of our presenters to go ahead and turn their cameras back on. And I think we'll probably have time for at least one question here. And that question would be, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and start with University of California, Irvine.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. So I think for me, the advice I always give students is really just taking the time to look at all your options and really doing your research on the schools that you're applying to. Even all of us on this call today, we are in a lot of different areas and we have a lot of really great programs, but it's really about finding the right fit for you and the fit for what you want to accomplish. So we're not here to sell you on a university. We're here to give you the resources and the tools so that you can make the best decision in finding the right fit for you. So that would be the advice that I would give.
Thanks. And how about Haverford College?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that and talk specifically about the supplemental essay questions that
Well,
most of, if not all of our institutions. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Was I going in and out?
A little bit, yeah.
I saw everyone just freeze. I was like, why is no one reacting to this? This is amazing advice. Okay, there are some smiles. So I was just piggybacking off of what was just said, and that is for the supplemental question that a lot of our institutions, if not all of them, have. And it's to make it specific to that institution. I know that sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many just generic copy and paste answers we have. And as has been said, all of our institutions are different, and there's different things that might be drawing you to each. And so it's to your benefit to be able to identify what that is about each institution. For a number of reasons. One is if you can't name anything, maybe it's not the institution for you. But if you can identify specific things about every institution, that means you have a list that, you know, you might have a top choice, but you have a list of places that you're attracted to across the whole board, so that you'll be pleased with wherever you get into because you're excited about all those places. And it also makes for a better supplemental essay.
I will say, if we've learned anything in the last year's admission cycle, take advantage of all of the virtual opportunities that now exist everywhere. There are tours, there are these fairs, there are ways to connect with students in a lot of different capacities. So take advantage of them. Biggest piece of advice, talk to a current student at the school. They're the ones living the experience. They will give you an honest answer. Not that we won't, like that's our job. We want to be honest with you, but like they'll give you the deets, you know.
Yeah, I always say when you're starting a search, or even when you're kind of in the middle of it, not to cross off schools too early. I think a lot of students have kind of a few criteria that they use where, you know, maybe it's the location or the size. You know, keep a few that don't fit your criteria in the mix, even if they just serve as a contrast point, so that you have a better idea. You know, maybe you were right that what you thought was exactly what you needed, or perhaps experiencing you know, a campus visit or something else somewhere else would give you the idea that perhaps you have a broader set of criteria than you thought.
I'll be brief. I know we're at time. I want to make sure folks have a break before the next hour. Just remember to breathe. The college application process is a marathon, not a sprint. So remember to pace yourself, remember to breathe, take time to step back when you need to. It's a long process, so give yourself the time and the grace to make it a healthy process.
I could have used that advice, Ben. I was a sprinter.
Great
I will
advice.
say, to build off Garrett's comment, know what kind of virtual programming you're looking for. We have great YouTube videos, great like recorded programming that you can kind of listen to as you're walking around town or doing homework. But if you attend a live event, show up, engage, ask questions. We're doing live events for a reason. And the best ones that I've led are ones where students are really engaged and asking very specific questions that are important to them. So kind of take the content in the way that you want to take it and take full advantage and show up.
Great, thank you. A lot of really, really good advice there coming from the people that know what they're talking about. So really appreciate that. And I really appreciate all of you for presenting today and sharing information on your colleges. And I also want to thank all of you for joining us today too, but this session has come to a close. So when you do close this window, there is going to be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you're able to provide. We do encourage you to check back on the schedule and sign up for any more sessions. We've got some more coming up later. And lastly, again, you will be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other session recordings at strivescan.com/SAIS. Thanks again and have a good rest of the fair.